Saturday, September 29th, 2018, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Quite a bit to talk about this morning. The market's very interesting yesterday, especially precious metals. The dollar, I want to talk about that as well. But before I start, I'd like to say that I've agreed to work together with a gold dealer or bullion dealer in the city of London. I went up there yesterday to meet with Oliver Temple from Gold Investments. I've been using them for over 15 years to buy my coins, sometimes sell them if I need to. They do all kinds of coins. They've been there since 1980. Mr. Temple, Mike Temple, I used to deal with him quite a bit. He's now semi-retired. He goes into the office once or twice a week, and his sons have taken over. I highly recommend them. They've been doing this for, since 1980. They do all kinds of services, from the smallest gold coin to kilo bars, to storage, and they are, I can vouch for them as far as credibility and is concerned. So what does it say about Gold Investments? Well, headed up by Mike Temple, who has over 50 years experience and knowledge in the investment markets, and the business prides itself in offering a personal service to all its clients, both private and institutional. So you can, if you are in the UK or especially in London, you can even go up there into the city of London and pick up your coins. If you want to sell your coins as well, eventually you go up there, take your coins, and they put the money straight into your account as well, the fiat money. So all you need to do is put the promo code Maneco64 and you get a 0.5% discount. They also, shipping in the UK is £10 and it's insured, of course. Any purchases above £1,000 is free shipping. So it's quite interesting. So yeah, promo code Maneco64. So now, let's start with the dollar. I just saw a story this morning on Zero Hedge, and it's written by a guy called Peter Corzin of the Strategic Culture Foundation. And he says, EU, UK, Russia, and China join together to dodge US sanctions on Iran. So what's this about? Well, I'll read here the article. The UN General Assembly in New York is a place where world leaders are able to hold important meetings behind closed doors. Russia, China, the UK, Germany, France, and the EU seized that opportunity on September 24th to achieve a real milestone. And it goes on to say, the EU, Russia, China, and Iran will create a special purpose vehicle, SPV, a financially independent sovereign channel to bypass US sanctions against Tehran and breathe life into the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, which is in jeopardy. And it quotes as well, the story quotes itself, it says, mindful of the urgency and the need for tangible results, the participants welcome practical proposals to maintain and develop payment channels, notably the initiative to establish a special purpose vehicle to facilitate payments related to Iran's exports, including oil. So in my opinion, yeah, this is very significant. It puts another nail in the coffin of the US dollar as the major reserve currency. Does that mean that the dollar is going to collapse or the dollar index is going to collapse? No, not right away. A lot of people think that when we talk about the dollar losing its reserve status, that, the dollar index is going to crash, it's going to disappear. It's not. The dollar index even went up yesterday. But what it does is that it gives other nations, other countries, the confidence that they can try to fight this American tool oppression, really, I would say, of using the U.S. dollar for political purpose instead of being an economic tool for indirect exchange. And it's highly significant that you've got countries like the UK, Germany, and France, and the EU. You can have UK, Germany, and France dealing alongside the EU, even though they're part of the EU, and that's quite significant. That just adds to the what the Chinese and the Russians are doing. The Chinese, especially with the Petro Yuan, which I've talked about a lot in my videos. I'll put one of the videos above in the card so you can listen to it. And in my opinion, what it means for the not just the value of the dollar, what it means for the U.S. government is that there will be less demand for dollars. People will start trading in different currencies for commodities, and what that will mean is that a lot of the countries around the world will not have to buy as many treasuries. That means interest rates are going to go higher. And that's what's significant in my opinion. So that's out there, the story. And now to gold and silver, the dollar index, and what happened yesterday to the price of silver, the gold-silver ratio. So if some of you are new to the channel and you haven't heard about this, the gold-silver ratio is how many ounces of silver you need to buy 1 ounce of gold. So the higher that ratio, the more undervalued silver is against gold. And historically, in a precious metals bull market, that ratio tends to drop. So silver, that means that silver outperforms gold in a bull market. But as you can see here recently, that ratio has gone from a low of almost 75 in June of this year to a high of 85 just in the middle of September. But since then, it's had a massive drop. And it closed yesterday at 81.34. It's back below the high that we had in May. Yeah, was it April of this year? Now it's come back even below that level from the high in April, which was around 82. We're like at 81.34. So what that means is that, it is possible that we're now back in a precious metals bull market. It could be too early to call. There's still a lot of people out there saying gold is going below 1,000, silver is going to like $8. But I'm making this call here. I know it's dangerous to make calls, but this move in the gold-silver ratio is very significant. Of course, Monday and next week will be key. If this reverses what we saw yesterday, then all bets are off. I still believe longer term, gold and silver are like savings. If you have extra fiat money in the financial system, in the banks, I personally try to always exchange it for the currencies that have had the best track record, that hold their purchasing power over the long term, and that's physical gold and silver. The dollar index made an interesting move in the last 2 days, actually. If you even though silver has held up well, as you can see here by this chart. The move in silver yesterday was quite significant. I think the low on the 11th of September, just below 14 at 13, let's see, it was 13.93. I think that is the low. That is a significant low. Just like the low on August 15th in gold at 1360 was a significant low. Gold and silver don't bottom or top always at the same time, and it looks like silver took a little while longer, about a month longer to bottom than gold. So you can see the move yesterday was very positive here in silver. Even though gold doesn't look that great, but it's still it closed within the range that we've had since about the 20th of August. You know, a range between 12, let's say 1290 and 1190 and 1210. We closed around 1192 yesterday, the spot gold. The other thing I wanted to point out, and I've talked about before, is that the relationship between the gold and the dollar index, and don't forget, dollar index is mainly 2/3 the euro, and then the sterling, yen, Japanese yen, and some other major currencies like Canadian dollar and Swiss franc and Swedish krona. But if you, the relationship between the dollar index and gold is not, always, if the dollar goes up 1%, gold will go down 1%. It's not. And this proves it. This longer term chart, monthly chart, you go back to the low of the dollar index here in the last, in the century, it was 70.69. And that's when gold touched at the time an all-time high of 1,031. And now if you look where we are now, the dollar index has gone up over 30%. We're at 95, but gold has gone up as well, almost 20%. It's at roughly around 1,200, 1192 if you want to be exact. So it doesn't really necessarily mean that just because the dollar index has gone up, that gold will go down. As you can see here, gold has gone up. So that's one point I wanted to make here. Other thing I would like to talk about and to finish off is a book that I've recommended many times, but I always recommend it again because I get new subscribers or people who haven't seen all my videos. And why is it important? Well, because it shows you why precious metals, especially gold and silver, have been money. Explains what government has done to our money, and it will hopefully help you understand why I always recommend. Well, not recommend, but it's what I do, and if it's what you think is the right thing to do, it's up to you, of course. And it's this book here, What Has Government Done to Our Money? The Case for 100% Gold Dollar by Murray and Rothbard. Austrian School of Economics. I'll put a link below in the description if you want to buy the book from Amazon. There are some free PDFs as well, which I'll put in the link as well if you don't want to buy it. But basically, Mr. Rothbard he uses the regression theory analysis, which basically means that you go back to the beginning to see how things evolved, and he looks at all the history of human interaction in a market, how people used to barter. Then they found a commodity that was the most marketable one that everyone wanted to exchange, and that became money. And it goes all through the whole process. It's less than 200 pages, and it's a really good read. And you don't have to be an economist. You can be a regular Joe, and it's really instructive. I highly recommend it. Too bad they don't teach these, have these in schools or universities. Of course they wouldn't. They're all, it's the Keynesians control education for now, mainstream at least. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can also follow me on Steemit, DTube, and on Twitter. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.